So I want to cut right to it. Steve and John, this organization that you have built is pretty extraordinary, and it is from Citizens Defending Freedom to the Remnant Alliance. We know that this is the movement in our communities that we need, because I can't survive alone. I can't do it. I'm still there, not because I'm so brave or any of those things. I'm still there because you are the army with me. You are the force beneath my wings. And of course, the strength, the words, the wisdom, all of this comes from God. And so I want to use this time. I'm never the one they bring to lighten the mood at the dinner party. I hate to tell you. So I just want to warn you, I have to make this count. So I'm going to cut right to it. We are sitting now in Frisco, just outside of Dallas, and I asked one of my friends who's here this evening, who works in this field, how many trafficking rings are there right here tonight operating, while we sit here and talk to each other and share, break bread together and thank God. What are we doing to God's children? Well, I'll tell you, there are 30 just in Frisco alone. And every day in Dallas, there are 1,500 new ads. And I asked my friend Kelly Cravens, who's here sitting at the table just over there, what do you mean ads? Because, she says ads, and when she says that, there's a weight and a heaviness to her voice. And for me, they're just ads. What does that really mean? I get it, but I don't share that heaviness. And for someone who's been in the fight on the front line of counter-trafficking, what that means is these are girls, sometimes boys, who are in desperate condition. They're being subjected to extraordinary pain and suffering. And when I first met Kelly, she told me a story that really helped me understand this. She told me about a picture that she saw once posted on Instagram, and it was over the weekend, I think, and they had this frantic hunt over the next 72 hours to try to find these two girls. And she described sort of the panic and the frenzy and the difficulty and all the challenges that they faced. And I said to her, why was it so urgent? And she said, because they were marked for death. And I said, well, how did you know? Because, you click online, you look and you see girls, or there's different sites, online, and you can see this on Facebook, you can see it on X, you can see it all over social media, and you don't think much about it. And she said, look at this picture. She pulled up the picture for me. And I looked, and she said, what do you see? I said, I see these two young girls, and maybe 16, 17, maybe 18. And she said, look closer. Look at the shoes. Look at the clothes. And what she showed me was that the shoes were dirty and the clothes were not new. And she said, they only dress the ones they aren't going to kill. So when you see the dirty shoes, you know these girls don't have long to live. You don't have much time to find them. And so my husband and our very close friend Jim Caviezel said when he did the movie Sound of Freedom that God's children are not for sale. And I hate to tell you, but they are for sale all around us every day and every minute of every day. And Kelly and her organization are the perfect example of citizens defending not just freedom, but fighting for all of us. Because if we don't save this nation and address this issue, then I don't believe that God will save us. I'm pretty sure, I am not a biblical scholar, and I defer to the many in this room who know God's word far better than I do. But I think we all know that we are not meant to turn away from this. We are not meant to live the way we are living now, where we come to an event or we see something that's reported and we say, isn't it terrible? And then we go back to our lives. I work with General Flynn and his foundation and with his sister Mary, and we work with some extraordinary people. We work with people, my friend Baz from Association for the Recovery of Children, who pulled a 3-year-old out of a cupboard with a chain on her, who'd been raped every day, as far as they could tell, for years of her very short life. And I talked to them about what these things look like. I've been to a town in Mexico built on generations of sex trafficking. And I have sat with girls who, when they walked out that night, they were going to be raped again. And they were going to be raped again the next day. And what these girls taught me when they were sold, they told me about the day they were sold by their families in Chihuahua, a poor place in Mexico. They told me about how their mothers prepared them for the journey and made them pack a bag and told them to do this for their family, and that they were going to work and to help the family eat, and that they couldn't live if they didn't make this commitment for them. And these girls and boys, I want you to know, they lose their families, they lose their homes, they lose their communities, they lose their identities, they sacrifice their dreams, their freedom, and they're raped every day until they die. And we live in a time where technology has taken the darkest forces on this planet and lifted them, empowered them, and enriched them. And we don't ever ask, whose servers store all that child pornography? How much money does Facebook, Instagram, even X, how much money do these people make out of the unbearable suffering of God's children? Trillions. That's the answer. They make unbearable amounts of money. And we have only one choice, and that is when we stand before God and He asks us, once you knew, what did you do? And I think we all know the only answer that I want to give is I did everything humanly possible. I gave every moment of my life. I am a mama bear. Okay? And I will fight for your children as hard as I will fight for my children. If you watch the surveillance video that leads into Sound of Freedom, you will see how quickly children disappear, how quickly they are taken. And I'm here to tell you that that is so much worse with technology. So I would ask everybody in this room, Steve and John, I salute you for what you have done. There are, General Flynn always likes to say local action, national impact. And it's true. With the local action that you do, this country can be saved. But if we don't, we are literally handing this country over to a government that traffics in children, from the unborn to those who are babies, toddlers, to teens, boys and girls. That is their currency. They do this every single day, and they're legalizing it across the southern border, removing all the barriers to vetting children. Health and Human Services have changed the rules. You can send a photo of your ID. They're sending 200, 300, 400, 500 kids to one address in Houston, Texas, or into Florida. These children are not going to their parents. The vast majority are going to people they don't know. Muckraker has a new video coming out. They'll show you girls begging them when they come to the door, please, I don't know my sponsor. I'm being forced to have sex. So I would call on all of you from Child Protective Services, which has been trafficking in American children for years, decades, all the way to satanic ritual abuse, to the southern border, to child pornography. God is looking at us and He is offended. And we need to ask for forgiveness. So in your churches, from your pulpits, in your prayers, I would ask you that we collectively as a nation ask for forgiveness and put someone in office who's going to fight for those children and bring the death penalty to all people who sell them. Thank you so much.